Section E, bargaining with the state. Now we turn to a famous case where a landlord successfully sued the state for taking a property right by the way it regulated development. North of Los Angeles, the magnificent coastline of California remains largely unspoiled by development, and the California Coastal Commission is responsible for keeping it that way. A property owner named Nolan sought a permit from the commission to enlarge a small coastal dwelling into a house. The property was located between the beach and a public road, as depicted in Figure 5.3. The house would have diminished and degraded the view of the coast from the road. The commission wanted to protect the view from the road. To protect the view, the commission could have refused permission to build the house. The commission, however, took another approach because it had another goal: to create a public walking path along the beach. As indicated in the figure, the commission asked the owner to donate a public path along the beach in exchange for permission to build the house. Private developers often donate land in exchange for permits, as when a housing developer donates land for a school and a road in exchange for a permit to build houses on farmland. Instead of donating the path, however, the owner sued the commission. The law clearly allows the state to regulate property to protect the public against harm. And the law clearly forbids the state from expropriating selected property owners without compensation in order to finance public goods. Was the Coastal Commission protecting the public or forcing a private person to pay for a public easement? The U.S. Supreme Court reached the latter conclusion in a complex opinion written by Justice Scalia. The court looked for a nexus between the harm caused by the owner obstructing the public view from the road and the remedy demanded by the commission donating a public path along the beach. The court reasoned that without such a nexus, the regulation was an illegal taking because the court could not find a nexus. The owner won the dispute. A legal principle can be extracted from these facts. In order for a regulation to count as protecting the public from harm, the regulation must mitigate the harm. The state may condition a permit on mitigating the harm caused by its exercise. A donation of land to mitigate harm is allowed. For example, the commission might have asked Nolan to donate a path to get around the house and reach the beach. See possible path to beach in the picture. A donation of land for a purpose unrelated to the harm does not mitigate it. Instead, a donation for another purpose offsets the harm by supplying something else of value. Nolan can be interpreted as standing for the principle that the state may not condition a permit on offsetting the harm caused by the permit's exercise. Some hypothetical numbers inspired by Nolan show a problem with this policy. for bidding permits conditional on offsets. According to figure 5.4, the property owner values building the house at 1,000 and the commission values the public's loss of view at 300. Figure 5.4 shows the valuations for build and don't build in the two columns of the figure. Take a moment to look at figure 5.3 and go to 5.4. There's on the vertical axis the property owner and the public commission, and then there's two columns: act, which is build a house, or don't act and don't build the house. And if the property owner acts, it would be 1,000. If the owner doesn't act, it would be 0. In the public commission comes in, and then there's the act to build the house for negative 300. And if there's no act, then 0. Back to the text. Figure 5.5 shows the valuations for mitigate and offset. Mitigating requires designing the house to improve the view, which costs the owner $300 and benefits the public by $250 as estimated by the commission. Alternatively, donating a path along the beach costs the owner $250 and benefits the public by $400. See figure 5. Value of mitigation and offset. If the redesign of the house to mitigate for the property owner is negative 300, but for the public commission it's positive 250, and for the path along the beach, the offset for the property owner is negative 250, and the public commission is plus 400. Back to the text. Figure 5.6 combines the numbers from the two previous figures to give the net benefit of alternative acts. Don't act yields 0 to both parties. Act and mitigate yields 700 to the property owner. 1,000 minus 300 equals 700. And negative 50 to the public. Negative 300 plus 250 equals negative 50. For a net benefit of 650. These two choices, don't act and mitigate, are apparently the only ones allowed by the court in Nolan. Given these two choices, the commission will presumably refuse to issue a permit, and the result will be 0 benefits to both parties. The court apparently will not allow the parties to act and offset, which would benefit both of them. Act and offset yields 750 to the property owner. 1,000 minus 250 equals 750, and 100 to the public commission. Negative 300 plus 400 equals 100, for a total benefit of 850. With these hypothetical numbers, the holding in Nolan results in a payoff of 0 to both parties. The commission denies the building permit, whereas allowing the commission to demand an offset results in a payoff of 850. Commission gives permit and owner donates a path. These hypothetical numbers show that the principle in Nolan can easily cause inefficient blocking of building permits. The Supreme Court apparently arrived at this principle because it feared that the state will abuse offsets. A state might demand offsets from politically vulnerable property owners instead of collecting taxes. For example, a mayor elected by tenants might demand offsets whenever landlords need building permits. The mayor could use the offsets to finance public goods instead of imposing taxes that fall partly on tenants. The potential scope for such abusive offsets is large for two reasons. First, the state has extensive powers of regulation, many of which go unused. The state might start to introduce unnecessary restriction on those seeking building and other permits just to obtain offsets. Second, the state can demand an offset whose value exceeds the harm caused by exercising the permit. In Figure 5.4, building benefits the owner by 1,000. Thus, the state can demand up to 1,000 in offsets as a condition for allowing the owner to build, and the owner gains from accepting the offer, even though the building harms the public by only 300. Fear of abuse is reasonable, but the court should have solved the problem in a different way that avoids inefficiency. A better solution prohibits offsets unless the state also gives the property owner the opportunity to mitigate. This approach implies that the commission should give the property owner the permit to build the house conditional on the owner either mitigating or offsetting. The relationship either or is disjunctive. We are proposing a disjunctive conditional permit. The additional choice can benefit both parties. In Figure 5.6, the disjunctive conditional permit allows the owner to redesign the house at a cost of 300, mitigate, or donate a path along the beach at a cost of 250, offset. The owner will choose the latter, which will benefit the public much more than the former. In general, allowing the state an additional choice to issue a permit conditional on mitigating or offsetting cannot make the state worse off. By issuing a disjunctive conditional permit, the state gives the property owner an additional choice. The property owner in Figure 5.6 will choose to offset, in general, allowing the property owner an additional choice. To mitigate or offset cannot make the property owner worse off. So allowing the state to choose or reject issuing a disjunctive conditional permit is more Pareto efficient than not allowing it to do so. Briefly look at Figure 5.6. And so it just combines, it gives the total. You have the property owner, the public commission, and the total. And in the columns you have don't act, act and mitigate, and act and offset. Back to the text. Question 5.42. Assume that figures 5.4 and 5.5 describe the facts in Nolan. Why might the property owner challenge the commission and litigate instead of accepting the Commission's offer to give a permit in exchange for donating a pathway along the beach. Question 5.43. The picture of the Nolan case indicates the proposed path along the beach and possible path to the beach. The court did not allow the Commission to give a building permit conditioned on donating a path along the beach. Why might the court have allowed the Commission to give a building permit conditioned on donating a path to the beach? Question 5.44. The federal government provides disaster insurance that helps people to build vacation homes in places subject to flooding, such as sand dunes. Assume the government wants to protect the environment by preventing construction of homes on a specific sand dune near the ocean. If the government takes private property on the sand dune, either by condemning it or by imposing regulations that forbid any construction, should compensation include or exclude the increase in the value of the land caused by government flood insurance?